Hey, Chris here, and the last 2 weeks I've been to some pretty cool comics and toy vintage fairs. So I went to the Polka Dot Vintage Market, and the week following I went to the Collector Zone comics and toy market for the first time, and I picked up some pretty cool things from both of those places, and we're going to have a look at them together in this video. And this is one of the things I picked up. This is Robin from Batman Forever. Very happy to see him. And Robin, I think, is happy to join my collection. He doesn't say much, but I think he's happy. Let's look at the stuff that I picked up. The Polka Dot or 3-in-1 market, you can search for either on Instagram and Facebook and you will find them. They run a couple of times a year. It's been running for quite a few years, I believe. And this is I think the third time that I've been. It's probably half in size than the last time I went, so a lot, fewer vendors this time. It's $10 entry, which is a bit of a shame, but basically it's catered not so much towards geeky pursuits. They don't have a lot of comics and action figures and that kind of thing. It's more bric-a-brac and old watches and vintage clothes and vinyl records and all that kind of stuff. So not necessarily for everybody, but every time I go I certainly manage to find some cool stuff. So I had a bit of a browse for quite a while. I was probably there about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I had a bit of a chit chat with a few people that I knew, but just came back with not a whole bunch of stuff, but basically a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't necessarily find anywhere else. I got all these from the same vendor. This is the first stuff that I picked up from the Polka Dot Vintage Market. So this is a Superman cup from 1971. I think it was $8, which isn't bad. Superman the movie, which is made a few years after this, is my favourite movie of all time. So whenever I see any rare Superman 70s merch, definitely go ahead and pick it up. And then I picked up this Batman Forever 1995. So Batman Forever is the Val Kilmer as Batman film, and this is I don't know what it is, a pencil topper, cake topper, something rather. It's topping something, and that's it. Is a familiar costume from the movie Batman Forever is a guilty pleasure of mine. And then a couple of these cool little 90s Star Wars Micro Machine playsets. So we got this little alien figure from the Cantina band, and you would basically pop these heads open. They did a bunch of these, and then they would come with a figure inside that would just stand on that peg there. It's very rare to find them with the actual figures these days, but there we go. A couple of aliens from the Cantina band. You could probably just hang them on a Christmas tree. They kind of look like cool Christmas decorations. And Luke Skywalker in his pilot gear. Then you open up his head, and inside you've got a bit of a hanger bay kind of thing. Ugh, come on, open up. And that's where the figure would go. And you've got the hanger bay with R2-D2 being lowered in behind Luke. So pretty cool, these little... I've got a few of these, but yes, as I said, very hard to find complete. But Micro Machines are awesome. This is a Justice League Unlimited Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is one of my favourite obscure DC characters, and he goes with the 2000s animated series, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, with the spindly legs and the big chest, kind of that Bruce Timm design, which carried on from Batman the animated series. So the only other figure I've got of the same, which I think I picked up in Nexus, is this Green Lantern, which I think is that Tomo Ray. I can't remember his exact name, but yes, they have a very simple kind of animated design. So yes, I picked up all of these from the same vendor at the Polka Dot Vintage Markets. Speaking of 70s beverage receptacles, here we have the $6 Million Man thermos. I don't see these very often. So on the front there we have Colonel Steve Austin, played by Lee Majors, and his kind of boss, friend, confidant, Oscar Goldman, I want to say. So the series ran from 73 to 78, and quite an influential TV series. Aladdin did a lot of like thermoses and lunch boxes, that kind of stuff. So yes, this would have been from, I think it's from 1974. Not in bad condition actually. So yes, obviously the little cup and a little stopper as well, and some wonderful artwork on the front showing his speed, his bionic eye, his strength, all that kind of stuff. So yes, Lee Majors played Steve Austin, and yes, pretty awesome TV series. Yes, I'm a child of the 80s, not of the 70s, even though I was born in 1976, but yes, I know how influential this is. And I do have a 1970s focused sci-fi shelf in my toy room. If you've seen part 1 of my toy room tour, go check that out. Part 2 is definitely coming, and probably parts 3 and 4 once I get around to them, and this will fit in quite nicely to that shelf. There were a few sellers selling books and a handful of comics at the Polka Dot Vintage Markets, but none real dedicated on that kind of stuff. But the largest bookseller there, I flicked through and I found this, the Action Bible. So this is the 2020 version from David C. Cook Publishers, and illustrated by Sergio Cariello. You would know his name and artwork. He's done stuff for Marvel and DC and all that kind of stuff over the years. So it's been a few different versions of this since, but this is it's very highly rated, a massive bestseller, and they keep pumping out new versions. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It is what it looks like. It's select stories of the Bible with striking illustrations. So very happy to get this. It's a pretty hefty book, but I got this for only $20. So yes, if you're into the Bible or want to get your kids into reading the Bible or a bit more familiar with it, it has a lot of cool features. So definitely worth picking that up. So yes, that is the Action Bible. From the same seller, I got this 2008 Indiana Jones, The Ultimate Guide. So you'd be familiar with Dorling Kindersley, who published a lot of these coffee table books. I've got one on like Superman, Batman, Justice League, Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four. I've got a Catwoman one, and basically they're just kind of visual guides about different pop culture characters and franchises. So this was new when what is the last film that nobody likes? The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So current of that time, and it's got timelines, and it not only covers the movies but also the TV series of young Indiana Jones, and the comics and the video games and the novels and all that kind of stuff. So it goes into quite a lot of detail, and obviously it looks pretty. So if you are a fan of Indiana Jones, then definitely recommend getting this. Finally, on my way out, I thought I'd grab this. So there was a guy right at the front selling trading cards, but a lot of them were kind of sports related, which I'm not into. But Joe Jusko is one of my favourite artists, and he's done a lot of like Marvel and DC kind of flea skybox arts back in the day. So this card is from 1994, I think, and it is obviously of the original Star Trek crew. Wonderful likenesses. So we've got Bones, McCoy there, and we've got Spock, and obviously James T. Kirk. So I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and particularly these three characters, and it comes in its little holder as well, which is nice, so a bit of sturdy protection. So a Star Trek 94 Skybox trading card with a bonus little holder, and the seller gave me a good deal on that. And on the way out, just picked a couple of flyers. So the next Polka Dot Vintage Market, those are the dates for next year. Same place, the Claremont Showground, so April and November. Definitely an eclectic stuff that they've got there. And also the Annie's Collective Wonderland, which is open on Wednesdays to Sundays. I've never been there, but yes, those are a couple of other places you might like to go. Sunday, November 30 was my first time at the Collector Zone Toy and Hobby Fair in Joondalup, which is a bit of a distance from me, but I jumped on the train and met my mate Ryan at the Collector Kid, and he was kind enough to pick me up, and we went there together for the early bird, which was $10. And so yeah, we probably lined up for a bit, probably an hour or so, but talking to people in the queue and all that kind of stuff, and the time passed pretty quickly. I wasn't able to spend a heap of time there because I had to rush back to my place to meet a friend, but I probably spent 45 minutes to an hour just having a look. It's pretty big. There's a whole extra room down the back, so for my first time I was very impressed. I didn't buy a heap of stuff, but I'm very happy with the stuff that I did buy, and hopefully if I'm able to go again on a Sunday when it happens, I might visit again for sure. But anyway, let's have a look at the stuff I bought from the Collector Zone Toy and Hobby Fair. The second Batman Forever thing I bought was this, $10. So this is obviously Robin from Batman Forever, played by Chris O'Donnell. So yes, it looks like he does in the film. As I said, Batman Forever is one of my guilty pleasures. So whenever I see something like Batman Forever merch, I pick it up. There was a statue, well, not a statue, a limited action figure with posability of Batman from Batman Forever for $30. I was tempted, but it was quite big and I had nowhere to put it, so I grabbed this instead. Nice and soft, in pretty good conditions, considering he's you know, from 1995, so quite old. But yes, he can sit on my couch or something. So there we go, Robin from Batman Forever. These are just too much fun and I couldn't pass them by, so they had these three figures plus the Rock, which I didn't get because I'm more of a fan of the 80s wrestlers, but you can probably tell these are mashups of the Ninja Turtles and wrestlers. So they did come originally with a bunch of accessories like breakaway furniture, a microphone. I think Roddy Piper came with bagpipes, but we've got Randy Macho Man Savage, Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, and the Ultimate Warrior. I think there were two waves of these from 2016, 2017. These were the updated Turtles from the 2000s, not the 1980s series, but obviously you can see we've got Michelangelo and I think that's Donnie, his Ultimate Warrior, I guess. But yeah, pretty cool, very colourful, and I just love these kind of crossover figures. Obviously they've done like Star Trek, they've done like Universal Monsters, so the Turtles have crossed over with quite a few different things. I think there was even wrestlers and Ghostbusters and crossovers, all manner of things, so pretty cool. That just goes to show the lasting legacy of the Ninja Turtles, that they just cross over into all manner of generations. So yeah, very colourful. I do have a couple of wrestling shelves, so these will fit right in with that. Just love the colours. Something I didn't expect to see there. Yeah, it really makes the shelf pop. So yeah, Macho Man, Hot Rod, and the Ultimate Warrior. I'm trying to not buy as much VHS, or at least be a bit more selective. I've got a pretty good collection, I would say, at this stage. Mainly 80s and 90s films. Obviously that was when VHS was at its peak. But these three films were certainly missing from my shelf. Three classic 80s fantasy films. Love all of these. So Neverending Story, Willow, directed by Ron Howard, I believe, and starring Val Kilmer as well, Batman Forever, and The Princess Bride, which is just a classic. So these three films, I think they were $10, maybe $5 or $10 each. Pretty good condition actually as well. And yes, I do have a VCR, so to play all these. But yes, they are such great display pieces, and these three films in particular are just 80s fantasy cornerstone films. Another thing I didn't expect to see there was this wonderful Hot Wheels Simpsons car. I've actually been chasing this for quite some time. It's actually hard to get, so $15. This is obviously from the classic episode where Homer designs a car, and it's for his brother Herb, played by Danny DeVito, and it's an absolute disaster. Got the bubbles and the green and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is from 2014, and yes, I do like my pop culture themed Hot Wheels cars, so I had to grab this one. So yeah, pretty small but cool haul from my first time at the Collector's Zone Toy and Hobby Fair there at ECU, Edith Cowan University, Sports and Fitness Centre in Joondalup. As I said, $10 entry, kids under 10 I think are free, and the next one there is on March 8th, and that, just like the Nexus Toy Fair, which is in Victoria Park on a Saturday, this also happens 3 times a year, so definitely follow Collector Zone on their socials if you want to go to the next one. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. We'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye, geeks.